Merlin Sports.
For our next division, we head south, as in AFC South. And this division is comprised of the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Tennessee Titans. So, DDawg, who you thinking is going to win this division, and how the rest of the order is going to shape up, and how many wins you got each team?
I like the Houston Texans to win this division. I think they'll go 13-4, and I like Jacksonville to finish second. They'll probably go 10-7. I have them going 10-7, and then Indianapolis coming in at 7-10. And then I have the Tennessee Titans falling off the cliff and going 3-14.
Wow, yeah, that definitely is a cliff, and I joined you on that cliff because I have Tennessee rounding out the bottom of the division with the same 3-14 record. Then I have Indianapolis and Jacksonville actually tied with a 9-8 record, and let's just say they split. Let's just say they split the season series. So I'll put Jacksonville ahead of them. So I guess I'll predict Jacksonville to finish second, and Indianapolis to finish third with identical 9-8 record. And then Houston as the cream of the division with a 12-5 record, as they're one of the teams heading into this season with lots of buzz, lots of hype, especially with some of the additions that they've made this offseason. So do you want to start there with the Texans? What you see out of them this year?
I think they just build on what they did last year. CJ Stroud had an incredible year last year. It was his first year, and for a rookie to have the kind of season he had, I think he looked like he took, his success in the college football playoffs and just ran with it. Their coach has been great. He's coming in. He's from the San Francisco tree, the Kyle Shanahan tree, and he's did a great job last year instilling a culture that breeds them to have success. They brought in some key additions, but I just think they're just going to build on last year, and I think the division itself is taking a step back. So that's why I put them up with a 13-4 record, because I don't think Jacksonville is good. I think they're better, and I think Indianapolis and Tennessee are the two teams that I see them finishing in at the lower half of the league. I think Houston and Jacksonville. Houston's a playoff team for sure, and I think Jacksonville can definitely get in the playoffs as a wild card team. But I don't see the other two teams being in the hunt for wild cards. I think Indianapolis, they have, and I'm kind of jumping to all the teams, but I think Indianapolis itself, they're going to be better than Tennessee, because I just think Tennessee has fallen off. They lose Derrick Henry. They've established that Will Levis is their quarterback, but I don't know how good Will Levis is yet. So they won't be as good. And Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson, they had a pretty good year last year, but he's coming back. They lost Gardner Minshew, and they've sort of hovered around playoff success and in the playoffs. I just don't see that this year from them. They don't have enough players to contend. Your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm right with you with Houston, as after what they did last year now, and the off season that they've just had. Now you see there's a clear separation between Houston and the next team in this division. Of course, Houston, they got added Stephon Diggs. That was kind of a big splash move. So, you get a deep threat for CJ Stroud, another weapon. They added some veteran running backs as well, Joe Mixon and Cam Akers, grizzled veteran running backs from around the NFL, and due to the departure of Devin Singletary at running back. So, and they just got young talent on offense. So, on a pretty good defense. So Houston, I think, is going to run away with the division. I kind of like Indianapolis to be very competitive. Sure, you're still. We don't know what the ceiling is for Anthony Richardson, and big question is if he can stay healthy, because he's an exciting young player from what we saw last year, but just that style, he puts himself at risk with that style, so that's a question mark. But I think if he could stay healthy, that I think they'll be much improved. I mean, they still have Michael Pittman, wide receiver. Jonathan Taylor is running back, and this will be a full year of Jonathan Taylor, right? I think he struggled from not being in camp last year.
His hold up.
Yeah. He didn't get into form until later in the year. So healthy Jonathan Taylor, healthy Michael Pittman, and Anthony Richardson to start. So I think they'll start the season in good shape. We'll see how if they get hit by the injury bug. But if they don't, just looking at their schedule, I see them pretty competitive. Jacksonville will be competitive too. I think that's why I have Jacksonville and Indianapolis tied, and I think both of them will be a threat for the wild card, for one of the wild card spots this year. Excuse me. Yeah, both of them are pretty, they've got Jacksonville's pretty decent roster. They added Gabe Davis from the Bills for wide receiver.
I mean, this is a big year. This is a big year for Jacksonville, right? Like what was it? 2 seasons ago, they had the lunatic that was
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer, yeah. Right? And they got past him now. They had some success. They got into the playoffs. So I mean, this is a big year for them. It's a big year for Trevor Lawrence because they haven't signed him up to a big. I haven't heard that he signed a big contract for him. So his contract's coming up for renewal that he's going to have to probably look at. So I think it's a big year for them. I mean, it's entire like we both agree that Tennessee is the shittiest team in the division, right? Like we both agree that they're not the team that's going to contend. Richardson, the jury's still out. He didn't play a full season in college either, so the jury's still out on whether he can be that effective quarterback. He's got the physical tools. He just doesn't have the pedigree. So we'll see how that goes. Right. But I think we both can agree that Houston's head and shoulders. I mean, DeMeco Ryans has shown that he's one of the best coaches in the NFL, coming over from San Francisco. So.
Mm-hmm. So, which do you think that there's a coach on the hot seat, or which coach has the most pressure, or which coach is on most likely to be on the hot seat in this division?
I don't think you have a coach on the hot seat. I mean, I think if something surprises, let's say Houston has a really bad season, I don't think they're going to have one. But then he might be on the hot seat, right? DeMeco Ryans. But I don't think anybody's legitimately in the hot seat, right? right? But I mean, this is the NFL, and results are a thing. I think if the expectations in Indianapolis are higher than they should be, then he might be on the hot seat. But yeah, I don't see anybody in the hot seat. I mean, Tennessee, they got rid of Vrabel, right? So they have a new coach, and so he's not going to be one and done, right? So at worst case scenario is how Indianapolis does, and what what the expectations are, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to play into into who's like that's going to play into who's the who might be fired. But I don't think anybody in this division's on the hot seat, right? I think if you look at the other two divisions that we talked about already, it's no surprise Robert Saleh's on the hot seat in New York, and Stefanski for Cleveland. It would be the two warmer seats there.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and also because the longest tenured coach with their team in this division is Doug Peterson, and he's entering his third year as Jacksonville's coach. So these are all fresh hires, basically. And I don't think you'll see anyone fired after this year. Although I would say probably the most pressure is on Houston, because they've kind of been put as the darling of the off season with getting splashy moves like Diggs. And and then us agreeing that the division is kind of inferior. So I think all the pressure, the most pressure is on DeMeco Ryan in Houston, and because also you're not going to catch anyone by surprise this year. The teams are going to know, okay, this is a solid football team coming in here, and we have to practice and scheme for a top level team. So they ain't catching anyone by surprise. And, a young team, sometimes they can regress. So I think most pressure is on Houston, because everyone's expecting them to have a great year.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree.
Okay, that does it for this division.